welcome to ThreatTraq Essentials. I'm here with Ganesh Kasina. How are you doing, Ganesh?
I'm doing pretty well, Don. How are you doing?
Great. Let's talk about the stories that you guys covered on this week's ThreatTraq. The first one was a story you brought to us about a vulnerability in PLCs. Those are programmable logic controllers. They're used a lot in industrial control systems. Tell me about this vulnerability and why it's so dangerous.
Basically, the vulnerability they found was in memory protection bypass. There, in any program, any controllers, anywhere, basically there are some fail-safe mechanisms, right? There's a protection for the memory area where unauthorized, maybe unprivileged, should not be having access to it because, like you said, industrial control systems they are of utmost interest and they have so many critical assets connecting to it. So there needs to be a way to control access, who have access to these protected areas. The specific vulnerability is how to bypass this protection with respect to memory. That being said, once somebody has access to this protected memory area, basically they can change some code within it in that memory area, which eventually lead to some sort of remote code execution. What is remote code execution? It's nothing but giving someone ability to basically remotely control or maybe execute some sort of logic. So that is the vector which is of concern who are running these Siemens PLCs.
And these are used typically in a lot of critical infrastructure. It could be things like gas pipelines, electrical grids. So it's very important that it be protected. So what is the protection against this vulnerability?
Yeah, luckily, I think last Friday, Siemens has come up with a firmware update which will fix this avenue. The protection would be, first of all, whenever possible, try to get the latest update. Meanwhile, if we take some time to get the update, it's always a good idea to segregate these PLCs from the regular network and somehow keep it inside, some sort of a secluded network.
Manny brought us a story about ransomware. Ransomware has been in the news a lot lately, but this was specific on a more almost localized level about how to make sure your laptop is protected from ransomware, especially when it comes to backups. Tell me about the advice that's been given there.
I think this is one of the byproducts of the pandemic because most of the workforce are doing remote working, right? I think with that, some of the traditional corporate level network network security guards have been mellowed down a little bit. What Manny brought to the story is because everybody is having their mobile laptops with them, it's not easy to do the backups in the traditional way. Because of that one, there should be different ways to do the backups in effective way. Why? Because it protects against some sort of unwanted ransomware attacks. First of all, I think it's always good not to have some sort of attack, right? But if that happens, it's the ransomware heavily depends on the backups. The backup needs to be done, but in the centralized environment that can be done in the corporate lane. Because of the boundaries have been brought down, it's not easy. So the proposal is to use the laptop-centric backup solutions, which will leverage some of the previous technologies, maybe ideas, and also leveraging at the, I think, bit level as well as the file level modifications to maintain some sort of various instances of that specific backup, and leverage that information to try to construct together and give the data back to the user when needed. And that being said, it's not only the providing the data, but it needs to be done effectively and fast. So that is the key challenges, and the story basically discusses about what are some technologies out there, what are the cons and what are the pros, what needs to be done.
And finally, there's a new feature that Amazon is going to be activating in some of its devices. Tell me about the discussion that you all had about that.
The discussion involving these, some of the Amazon devices is called Sidewalk. I think it's going to be turned up in a week's time from today. Basically, in this scenario, any users, basically the users of these devices, their Wi-Fi network would be extended to beyond their, maybe let's say their premises to sharing with the neighbors. The concept is here is to this will leverage to extend the network like in a mesh network per se, but without the internet, and leverage that information to maybe they provided some use cases like finding pets, something like that.
And certainly a feature like that is going to be of interest to security professionals like yourself, so I'm sure we'll be having a lot more discussions about this in the future. Well, thank you for being here this week, Ganesh. It's been great having you on ThreatTraq Essentials. Thank you all for watching. If you want to keep up on these great stories and this great advice every week, please like and subscribe below, and we'll see you next time.